nice sunny day, March, and it's deceiving. It's about 24 degrees out there. Pretty chilly. Great time of year to make some comfort food. So I'm going to try and make some bean soup here. Never done this really. My parents grow their own beans and they dried them up. I'm going to try some of those with some pinto and black beans. I'm also going to use ham and vegetables. From what I've been reading in the cookbooks and a bit online, the approximate ratio beans to water is 2 parts water to 1 part beans, essentially. So I've already got a couple of cups in here, actually probably 4 cups. I'm going to add a little more because I'm going to use 3 cups of beans. Not going by a recipe here, typical for what I do. I just kind of seat of the pants, put stuff together. I'm going to put in a cup each of these beans. This is going to be the quick soak method. So I'm going to bring this water to a boil. And once it's boiling, I'm going to put the beans in, let them go for about a minute or 2. Then I'm going to turn it off, take it away from the heat, and let it soak for an hour. During that hour, I'm going to cut up carrots, celery, get my herbs ready, seasonings, and ham. And then after an hour, we're going to add all the other ingredients to it with the exception of the ham. So we'll basically throw the vegetables in. We're going to boil it, bring it to a boil. We're going to drop that to a simmer. We're going to simmer it for about an hour. Then we're going to add ham and simmer it for another half hour or so. So we'll see how this turns out. You want to rinse your beans. I've got a cup of each here. Water's coming up to a boil over there. And you just want to rinse your beans, and you want to look for any husks or shells. You want to make sure there's no, anything that shouldn't be in here. Sometimes there's pieces of the plant that it came on, or just random stuff from being processed. So you go through them, make sure that you don't see anything but beans. And if you see any, empty husks or whatever, you probably want to pull them out. Like, there we go. See, there's a partial. Just get rid of that. Not like it's going to hurt anything, but definitely a little better without your pieces. You want whole beans. So I'm going to finish rinsing these off. That water should be up to a boil, and we're going to get these things steeping. Got the water to a boil. I've just added the beans. I'm going to stir them around here for a second, and I'm going to let this come back to a boil. And shortly after it does, we're going to shut it off and just let it sit for an hour. Set a timer. We'll see you in a minute. Quick rundown of the list of ingredients here. Got approximately a pound of carrots. You can use whole carrots. I just had those here for lunches and such, so I'm going to use that. About 4 stalks of celery. I'm going to use some chicken broth in there in addition to my water. And once these beans are done, you want to drain the water and rinse them, and then start with fresh water. You don't want to use the water that you steeped them in. In here I've got a tablespoon of minced garlic with a 1/4 teaspoon of liquid smoke hickory. I've got cumin, fresh ground black pepper, salt, garlic powder, and onion powder in here. And then we got our herbs, which is thyme, oregano, rosemary, and parsley. And then the leftover beans, since I only used about half, go well into a jar, and then I use the food saver to pull a vacuum on it, so they'll be ready for the next batch. If this turns out well, we'll be eating more. If not, I'll be giving away some beans. So I'm going to cut these up really quick and get everything ready to go. We got about another half hour to go on the beans before we're ready to start cooking. Alright. Now steeping for a little over an hour. And we're going to go strain them. Again, I don't know if this is the right way or not. I've never done this. But I'm gonna give them a rinse. I have read that this gets rid of the chemistry that gives you flatulence. I don't know the exact names for anything, but that's what I read. So we're going to rinse it. We're going to let it sit here a second. And then I'm going to add everything back into the pot here and get it going. I'm going to put, I don't know, probably 6 cups of water. I'm going to use a can of broth. And earlier when I showed you the ingredients, I neglected a couple things. Some bay leaves, and I used a couple of small onions. You can use a medium onion, yellow onion, just a mild onion. So I'm going to put this in with the beans, the water, the broth, and the seasonings. And I'll let it simmer for an hour, and then we'll add the meat. Well, I've got everything in the pot here. I recorded it being put in here, but my camera malfunctioned. So I'll give you a quick rundown of what I put in here. I'm stirring this up, trying to get back to a simmer. Of course, the beans, about 8 cups of water, so I covered them with about 1.5 inches of water. I added 1 can of chicken broth. I added our vegetables, which is carrots, celery, and onion. And then our spices. We had herbs: thyme, oregano, rosemary, parsley. The seasonings would be cumin, fresh ground black pepper, salt, garlic powder, onion powder. And then I added a heavy tablespoon of minced garlic with about 1/4 teaspoon of liquid smoke. And then I'm going to bring it up to a boil here. Once it boils for a minute or so, I'm going to reduce it to a simmer and cook it approximately an hour till the beans are done. And then we're going to add the ham. And the stuff I bought's already pre-cooked, so we can just add it, let it simmer for 10-15 minutes to warm the ham, and we should be good to go. So more when we're simmering. We've come to a boil. So now I'm going to reduce the heat. Bring that down to a simmer. Like I said, every once in a while I'll give it a stir. I'll lower it even more here, just a steady little simmer. We're going to let that simmer for an hour. See how it does. Just a nice, I'll even lower it a little more than that, simmer.
Okay, this is ready for the ham. Ooh, looks good. Smells good. Throw this in. So I can figure out how to do it one-handed. Come on. Oh, there we go. And give this a little stir. I said to put that in and then give it another 15 minutes or so. Oh, smells so good. Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, should be about done here. There's some white here. Black beans change things a little bit color-wise. Something I didn't think about, which doesn't really matter to me. Let me get this bay leaf out of here. There's three or four of those in there. There's another one. Always want to take your bay leaves out. I'm going to let this cool a little bit, and then we're going to try it out. It smells really good. Looks like the beans cooked up pretty nice, I think. Steamy. Back you up here. Sorry about that. And the ham's just floating on top. Alright, I'll let this cool, like I said, a little bit, and then we're going to serve it up and give it a try. Alright, here we go. Looks pretty good. Let's give it a try. Yeah, that's good. I like that. I think we'll make that again. So, there you go. bean soup. Everybody's happy. So, thanks, Dad, for the beans. That's what started all this.